Hey, what is up, guys? This is Cam Bam here. Today we're going to be continuing on with our movie rating series. The last movie I rated was Arcadian, and I also have rated 3 other movies. And if you want to check any of those videos out, the link is down in the description for each one of those videos. But today we're going to be rating the movie Civil War. This movie came out earlier this year in April, and we're going to be rating it today. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so to start things off, this is the best movie I've rated so far. This is a really, really good movie. And the thing is about it is that it's also very realistic. I came into this movie with very high expectations, and I can happily say that all of the expectations were very, very satisfied. I really enjoyed this movie. To give a brief summary of what this movie is about for those who haven't seen it, it's about pretty much a president that is getting into his 3rd term, and obviously, if you know history and politics, that can't happen in the U.S. It can't. That's not right, and if a president does that, bad things will happen. So while he's doing this 3rd term, a bunch of different states, I think the main ones are Texas and California, split away from the United States and try to kill this president. They are trying to get him out of the office because of how bad of a person he is for trying to go for the 3rd term. So pretty much this whole movie is about a post-apocalyptic, or not, like an apocalyptic world where a war is breaking out throughout the entire country. Illegal things are happening left and right. There are very many things that are violent in this movie that are just happening out on the streets just because of this massive civil war that is happening at the moment. But besides that, this movie was actually very realistic. They did some really good tactical stuff, and the whole story is very realistic. Like, this could actually happen if there was a president in 3rd term going for a 3rd term. This could happen. Like, it's not something that is just for the movies. It's not something that is just fake and trying to gain entertainment. This could actually happen. And it's actually pretty sad too, because like people turn on each other, they hate each other. It just goes to show how much hatred would come into our world with something like this happening. All right, so on to the pros of this movie. The first pro I'm going to go over is how I love the story. Like, I like how everyone gathered, like, was kind of like away from each other at the start, and then they get so close to each other to the end. I also love the acting in this movie. The acting and performances was phenomenal. I felt like it really was emotional at times and very tense at times. It took you through a roller coaster of emotions. Another thing about this movie is when I saw it in theaters, the gunshots in this movie were extremely loud. Like, every time a gunshot happened out of nowhere, it'd make you jump with how loud it was. It was pretty much like a jump scare with a gunshot. It sounded so loud compared to other movies with their gunshots. And I don't know if it's like this in the, like, now they have it released onto, like, normal home TV. But in the theater, it was extremely loud. I actually kind of like that because it made it more realistic sounding, and it gave oh man, you need to pay attention to this. Like, it got you more hooked to the movie. Another thing I really liked about this movie was the dialogue. I felt like everything that was said in this movie was very realistic, and also just like the movie itself. I felt like everything they said would have been something a normal person would have said if this was actually happening. I felt like it was very well done on the dialogue. And that has to go along with the actors too. Like, the actors have to say this dialogue. And I feel like the dialogue, the writing, and the actors really correlated with each other very well. Like, the actors nailed the dialogue and they nailed their performance. Alright, so on to the cons of this movie. I felt like the ending, which I'm not going to spoil, was very expected. Like, I felt like there was something that happened that was major in the ending that I felt like was extremely expected. Like, I was expecting that to happen, and it did. Like, it was you could see it very well before it even happened. Like, you could see this was going to happen. And like in Arcadian, I felt like Civil War needed more of a backstory on like, how did we get to this point in time where people are shooting each other out on the streets, piling bodies into pits, and how did we get to this president that's giving into his 3rd term? Like, how do we get to this point? They don't really explain that very well. And that was one of the big things I kind of struggled with, is I felt like they could have given some more of a backstory on how this all happened. So despite all the cons I gave this movie had me very entertained the entire time. Like, I had my eyes glued onto the screen the whole entire time. So for that, I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Like, I don't think it's as bad as an 8, but I think it's a little better than an 8. Like, I think it deserves a little bit more than just an 8. So, because this movie just really did have me glued on this screen the entire time. Like, I felt like it was so good on the story, the acting, the performances, all of that. They nailed it. But anyways, guys, if you guys want to see this movie, I completely recommend it. Like I said, this is probably one of my top 3 movies of this year that I've seen. If you like war movies or apocalyptic movies, this one is for you. This is a great movie for that. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.